Hi, this is Faith, and you are watching The Faith Factor. Holla.
Hey, what's going on, Faith? How are you?
Hey, what's up, CK? I'm just kicking back, chilling like a villain, staying out of trouble. What's going on with you?
Not much. Just too selfish to be loved. So there's nothing wrong with being selfish and putting oneself first because no one's going to take care of a person better than themselves. But the problem is, and just focusing on women, a lot of times women they have this entire plan mapped out in their heads, such as what color is it going to be at the wedding, what it's going to be like on the first date and the first kiss, what movies they're going to go watch when have when going out, having matching outfits and colors, even the colors of the wedding dress, the tux colors, the reception, how that's going to be, where that's going to be, where different places that the honeymoon might be, what kind of house they want, how many rooms, do they want pets, how many children. They have all these things mapped out. And when it comes to the man, it's insert man here. And what I mean is there's all of this stuff made up of this plan, marriage, relationship. Women will even think of what they want in a man. They'll have different attributes, but the actual man won't matter. Most women, they never really ask a man what he wants and take him seriously. They'll ask him, "What do you want in a woman?" He'll say it, and she'll say, "Well, just take me as is. I'm not those things. Take me as I am. Take it or leave it." And so that leads into the being too selfish to be loved. How can you love someone that has this entire plan mapped out? They don't want to hear you out as far as what you need. She's willing to change herself as far as wear a different wig, have different makeup, wear different clothes to have different looks. She's willing to change things about herself so that she appreciates what's in the mirror, so that she appreciates herself. She loses weight, exercises, she goes to school, gets a degree, she does all these things to improve herself, to change herself so that she's happy with herself. But the person who she wants to spend the rest of her life with, she's unwilling to change for him. She wants him to take her as is, and she's more focused on this plan that she has laid out, which everything I just said. And it gets to a point where not only is she too selfish to be loved, but she's too selfish to do anything but be left alone. So, Faith, really great topic. Glad you laid it out. Mike is yours.
All right, CK. And see, the reason why I asked CK to start this live stream out is because he's coming in here from a man's perspective. Because if I alone said these things, Faith, you a mammy. You a mammy, and you're male identified. But here's the thing. Now I've been sitting up here. You know I watch everybody, CK. You know I support all of my fellow YouTubers, the good, the bad, the downright ugly. I support all of them. But I'm just gonna tell you something. There are some sisters out here, and like I said, they're doing some good work on their channels.
I
But
bet
the
they
the,
are.
the one thing that I don't hear a lot of the sisters doing, they'll tell you that you're not supposed to, how can I say, You're not supposed to take care of a grown ass man. That right there should go without saying. Okay, it is not your responsibility. We all should know this. They'll tell you to stop windmilling for these brothers. We really do need to stop windmilling for men that are not ours. Right. Mahogany said we're all mammies. Exactly. We're all mammies to some degree. But if you sit up here and you say in public, as a black woman, especially in this space, I have a good man. My man treats me good. I love my man. If you say any of those things, you will get ran down the hill and they will shoot bows and arrows in your ass just because you're happy with your man. Now, you're not saying you love all black men. You're saying you love your man. And bitches will take you out. And so this is the reason why I thought this discussion was long overdue. Because I'm tired of good women being ostracized for just simply loving their man, especially if he's a black man. Oh yeah, Mahogany, bows and arrows straight to the ass. They might even put that bow and that arrow in your back. Okay. Shout out to Mela too. What's up, Donovan Ikens? So here's what I want to impart to the ladies, because I've seen some really good channels out here. Okay, some real good ladies out here that are kind of like the pushback to the rhetoric of the manosphere. And I think that they are needed. Cynthia G, Mahogany Roots, and MJ, shout out. That sister has an awesome channel. Uppity Unicorn, Woman's Fear. And she also has a channel called Talk to Me Nice. There are quite a few ladies that have some really good channels that teach women to be selfish, which, you know, there's nothing wrong with being selfish. Like CK led with that. He led with the fact that it's okay to be selfish. But sometimes you're too selfish. Some of y'all too selfish to be loved. And this is what I'm talking about. Who was that we were listening to today, CK? I forget the young lady's name.
Oh, the one that was doing the dragon.
Yeah.
I tell you what.
You don't remember her name, do you? I think it was
Nah,
Yandy.
it was my first time there. Yeah, it was Rude
Yeah,
Head.
yeah, it was. I think it was Yandy. I don't know who it was, but I think they're Woman's Fear and Yandy, or you know, all of them. They're into it. I don't want to be part of that. You know, I stay out of the bullshit on YouTube. You know, I'm not even going to reference whatever beef they got going on. However, there are certain things that in listening to nonsense, sometimes a person in their spewing and in their anger, they actually say something that's actually profound. And when I listened to Yandy, I heard her say something about how women talk about themselves too much. There are certain women that are very, very, how can I say, self-absorbed. Do you have a better word than that?
I know, self-absorbed. That sounds about right.
And this is what I mean by self-absorbed. You in the mirror so much, admiring how good you look. You're admiring your lace front. You're admiring your makeup. You're looking at your nice body, your fat ass, and you know that you are very desirable. So these type of women can teach other women how to be desirable. And so you can pass on beauty tips, which is needed. Thank you very much. You all have helped Faith with her wig struggle over the years. My lace fronts are looking pretty good now, thanks to some of you sisters. Thank you very much. Okay, so you all, you talk about how to fix the outside. But what I never, ever, ever, ever hear any of the ladies talk about is fixing what's inside. You talk about what you do to the outside to attract. You do a lot of talking about attraction. And and a lot of you are not even aware that you're doing it. CK, it's pretty bad when you a woman and you online bragging about how you clean your house. Don't everybody supposed to clean their house?
You would think.
That's nice and everything, but that's supposed to be a given. You're supposed to keep your house clean. And then you're bragging about how you wash your ass and brush your teeth. Oh, I make sure I keep my ass clean and pussy clean. Oh, excuse me. They gonna take me down. I keep my body clean and my breath smell good. Who cares? That's supposed to be a given. But I never ever hear any of these same women that come on here dragging black men day in and day out. They talk about how you're supposed to be free as a woman to do what you want. This is true. They talk about how, as a woman, you can wear your hair any way you want to wear it. This is true. They talk about everything except reciprocation. Have you ever gone on to anybody's panel? Just think of all the top YouTubers. Have you ever heard any one of them talk about anything beyond the superficial?
Nope.
I know I haven't. They superficial as hell. And I'm not saying this because word on the street, Faith ugly. I disagree, but whatever. To each their own. But I'm saying this because Faith have been in long ass relationships. Probably stayed in some relationships a little bit too long than I should have. And Faith can get them, and Faith can definitely keep them. But how does Faith get them? Well, all the things that you all talk about, you got to be attractive. You got to keep your body up. Those are givens. That is a given. But tonight I heard a young lady say that you're supposed to know how to reach out and touch a man and know just how to touch him so that he feels good. I never hear women talk like that. And so tonight, when I heard a Black woman talking like that, I said, yes, this is what Black women need to hear. We need to hear how to reciprocate. Because right now, we are on our, niggas ain't shit diatribe. And I ain't gonna last, these niggas earned it, but you know better than them if that's all you want to talk about. Because see, you can't sit up here and talk about all they want to talk about is Black women, and then Black women ain't this and Black women ain't that. But then we going around and we doing the same thing. Somebody has to be the adult in the situation. And right now we running around here in these YouTube streets acting like high school children. And that's the reason why I don't get into any of the shit that I see on here. Because it ain't productive. And trust and believe, I know the ones that be trying to pull me into bullshit with old high school tactics. Let me veer off this topic real quick because I want to talk about these old high school tactics real quick. Let me just veer off real quick. Is that okay, CK?
I'm listening.
See, ladies, let me tell you something. A lot of you all allow men to put batteries in your back by calling you out. They make you pit bulls and attack dogs, and they pin you against other women, and you allow them to do this. You ain't never, ever, ever seen me allow a nigga to pit me against another woman. Cause Faith ain't nobody's pit bull or attack dog, and no tactic a motherfucker can pull under the sun is ever gonna make me be one. And trust and believe, it's some niggas on here that I ain't finna fuck with no more because they tried it. I've been in chat rooms minding my own motherfucking business, and niggas will all of a sudden be on some catty ass shit, and they'll tell me that I'm scary. Ooh, Faith, you just scary. You be on other people's platforms and you be talking scary. Nigga, you is not finna put no battery in my back by using high school, old, antiquated 1990 tactics. I'm too smart for that. And anybody that think they gonna do it, you gonna have to think again. Get somebody that ain't smart. Like some of these females I see out here windmilling and fighting each other. 99.9% of the women fighting on goddamn YouTube, there's a nigga in the background that started that shit. And you all fell for it. And that's the reason why I have always said that women, Black women in particular, we need a goddamn code. I've never gone off code. You ain't never seen me put up no video about no other Black woman, except for one time with Cluster. And that didn't have nothing to do with no man. It had everything to do with her ass. But other than that, do you see me just sitting around here looking to beef with every female on here just because a nigga want me to?
Nope.
But they still try it. Oh, you scary, Faith. You scary. And I've seen bitches. I have gone to some of you bitches' channels, and in good faith, which is my name, Faith, in good faith, tried to have conversations with you about things that Black women go through with one another, and how we need to stick together and heal one another and stop being at each other's throats. And them same bitches will come out of a bag on me for no goddamn reason, because some nigga or their own underlying jealousy caused them to do so. And when I get wind of it, I don't fall for it. I was on a panel recently where a chick tried that shit. And this is how I play it. You're not going to get an argument out of me. I'm not going to be your entertainment for your audience. I will quickly agree, talk about what I came to talk about, and I'm going to get the fuck out of there. In that order. Because that's what grown women do. But back to the topic. Back to the topic. I never hear y'all talk about reciprocity. I never hear anybody say that they are willing to be vulnerable with their man. And I never hear anybody say that they're willing to submit to their man and love their man, whether he be black, white, pink, purple, green, orange, or whatever. We act as if it's wrong to love a man, and especially if he's black. We are even more racist against our own than they are racist against us within our own group. And that's just one small faction of how we discriminate against each other. Now, I don't have no problem with Black women expanding their options. You all know I talk about this all the time on my channel. But I also say that a man is a man, regardless to what race he comes from. You're supposed to vet. And when you get him and he's a good man and you have the discernment to see that you have a good man, it's okay for you to love him. It's okay. And it's okay for you to express to others that you love your man. Now, we'll sit up here all day and we'll tell Black men that they do not promote marriage to each other. But we as Black women are getting to be just as bad as they are. When we sit up here and ostracize each other, if we have something good to say about a brother. I'm sick of it. I'm just getting tired of it, to be honest with you. But we'll be online with our makeup, with our lace fronts, myself included. I got my lace front. And we'll talk all day long about how our bra strap match our tops and our panties and bras match, and how we got the flat bellies and the nice hips, and we talk about all superficial things. But we don't never talk about how we go home, and after our man comes home from a hard day's work, And if we are, not doing anything and we're feeling okay, we might just go ahead and run his bath water for him. We might just go ahead after he gets out of that bath, lay out that towel and dry him off and rub warm oil over his body, giving him a deep massage. We don't never talk about what we give. Well, yes, we do. We talk about what we give in terms of that we give too much. But that's us giving too much to the wrong motherfucker. I'm tired of y'all talking about how you gave too much for the wrong motherfucker, and now you so bitter and angry that when the right person comes along, you too selfish to be loved. You too selfish to reciprocate. You too damaged to reciprocate. Now I have CK up here because he's a man and he can tell you better than I can what it is that men are looking for. He can tell you better than I can. Because see, if I say it, you're male identified, you're a mammy, and a pick me. So I'm going to let him tell it. So CK, I'm going to go ahead and yield the mic.
Yeah, I'll just kind of talk to you, but um, yeah, I think a lot of issues that people have is not really asking their significant other what they want and just kind of giving them what they think that they should have. And it ends up being a breakdown of communication because that's really all it is just having the conversation. You know, let's say the man gets off work, you know, of course, there's different things you got to do in the house. If you have children, maybe the children, someone's helping the children with homework. Maybe bills have to be discussed. There's never going to be a perfect day or perfect night, but I think it's just having the communication and being open to hearing as opposed to listening and now reciprocating with gripes and complaints. And then even if someone does gripe and complain about something, just being empathetic and just understanding, okay, here's the complaint. What can I do to satisfy my partner? As opposed to, oh, they're complaining again, they're getting on my nerves. So it's all about the mindset and just having that communication. Have you ever experienced that, Faith?
Yeah, I have. Now as far as like men not asking me what I want, yeah, I have had that. And it's not a good feeling to be in a relationship with somebody and you're giving because you know how to love, but the person that you're with is too narcissistic and selfish to appreciate that you are giving. They don't know that the reciprocation is needed from them as well. But see, we always hear about how men are selfish. But what I want to do today is I want to talk about, ladies, how sometimes we are selfish. A lot of us are fortunate to be in relationships with good men. I'm not talking about Pookie, Ray, Dirty Dick Rick, or none of these other fools that y'all done fucked around with. Because let's just say we done all played the fool before and we done all chose wrong. But sometimes that one person does trickle into your life and they're different. And deep down in your soul, you feel the difference. but something within you blocks you from treating that person right because you're afraid. A lot of you are afraid to be vulnerable. And you got to snap out of that because that's how you lose your man. With the right person, it is okay to be vulnerable. With the right person, it's okay to express to that person how much you appreciate them. CK, how can a woman express to you appreciation? Like, what are some of the things that you do for a woman, and sometimes you don't seem to get appreciation?
Well, really, it's just the conversation because every relationship is different, every person is different. So, um, there's the big things and the little things. Little things could be opening a door, could be giving a compliment on how they look, and just
Wait. You mean men want to be complimented on how they look?
well, yeah, I'm sure everybody does. Mm-hmm. And I mean, just hearing, hey, I really appreciate you giving me a ride to work, or I really appreciate you helping me with dinner, helping with the kids. I mean, just the little things go a long way, especially when you don't know what's going on in someone's head, and sometimes a partner is not going to share everything with you. So just saying thank you or great job on something, even if it's something that um, is like minor, like washing dishes or going to the mailbox to get mail. You don't know what's going on in the person's head, and you don't know how that little compliment can make them feel like they're on top of the world.
So for you, is verbal confirmation.
Both verbal and nonverbal gestures. So like a smile or eye contact or a hug or just kind of rubbing up against someone, a kiss on the lips or the cheek. It doesn't always have to be verbal. The nonverbal gestures are just as effective. Sometimes they go longer or farther than words.
Now, here's one thing that I don't hear a lot of women say that they do, but I hear that we always want to be taken out for Valentine's Day. We want the man to remember our birthday and take us out and buy us a gift. We always want. But how is it that I never hear women brag about buying their man a gift for his birthday? I think I heard Woman Sphere say it one time when I was at her channel. I think I heard her one time say that she bought her man something for his birthday. But I don't hear a lot of women brag about doing things like this for their man, for a good man. And you know deep in your heart what a good man is. But for some reason or another, some of us cannot bring ourselves to be giving because we're too afraid of being used. Let me just put it out there. A lot of you think that if you do something for your man, then you're going to look weak and as if you're taking care of him. Reciprocation is not the same as you taking care of a man. Reciprocation comes in the form of he has done something for you. And so, to show your appreciation down the line, you do the same. If he remembers your birthday, you remember his birthday. If he has cleaned the house up and washed dishes and made sure that the bed was made, then you do the same for him. You might take that trash out one time or once or twice. You may go out there and rake the leaves before he get home. And when he gets home, he'll see that it's done and he'll be appreciative of it. You know, little things like this. Make It Happen Manny says, my man don't like when I buy him stuff. Couldn't even take him to a $5 movie. He told me no. And yeah, I have gotten that before too, Make It Happen Manny. When you have a good man, some of them have the same thing going on with them that we have going on with us. Some of us are so hard to love because we've been independent for too long. And I know this firsthand because my man had to really, really shake me down one time just to give me money. Because I've been independent so long, I didn't feel like I have to take nothing from nobody. Yeah, at least you tried. But you can do it in little ways to kind of get him used to the reciprocity. Because there does need to be reciprocity in a relationship. The man does need to know that he is loved and appreciated. The same way that we need to know that the things that we do are appreciated and noticed. Like CK was saying, you just need that confirmation. But I'm gonna tell you that there's
Yeah, and
a group of,
every
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, no, go ahead. You can go ahead.
No, I was saying that there's a group of women on here. God bless them. I love them. I love all their channels. But good God of me, there's only so much anti-male stuff that I can listen to, especially anti-black male. Now I know that there are some niggas out here. If you grew up in the black community, especially in the hood, you know there's a lot of niggas out here. And they not all good. Majority of these niggas is bad. I'll be the first one to tell you. But you know, to just go on and on and on all day long, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it does something to your psyche when you dwell in the negative all the time. I don't have time to dwell in the negative all the time. That's the reason why you don't see me going live all the time. Now you may see me go from this person's channel to that person's channel, and I'll support as long as I can stand to listen to the negativity. But most of the time, when the negativity gets to be too much, I'm the fuck out. I will log the fuck off of this motherfucker, turn my music on, get up under my man, get my little glass of wine. And the other day I heard black women shaming other black women just because they like to wind down with a glass of wine. What the hell? But let me tell you something.
Yeah, just
We
everyone has to understand that
Mhm.
every relationship you kind of like do a reset. So what works for one guy or gal that you were with is more than likely not going to work for someone else. So I think just understanding that, you know, one person you might be with might like gifts, another person might not like gifts, and I don't think we should judge anyone based off of what society says is right and proper, or what other people have done in past relationships, or what other people do in their relationships to kind of judge the person who you're with. I mean, just being understanding and asking questions like, hey, How do you feel about gifts? And whatever their answer is, don't it's not really a arguing and debating situation all the time. Sometimes it just could be just listening and seeing where the other person comes from, because you want to get to know your partner so that your partner can, as you both grow, you grow together as opposed to growing apart. Have you ever experienced that, Faith?
Yeah. Remember that that show I did when I talked about my ex and I growing apart and that it was a good thing? Sometimes when you grow apart, it is a good thing. However, in that relationship, there was very little reciprocity, very little. And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I caught myself being selfish with him. I was too, self-absorbed to see some of the things that he needed. I'll be the first to say, because a lot of times people will talk about their ex as if their ex did all the wrong and they never say what they did wrong. I can say some of the things that I did wrong. And I did, take. He was taking me out to dinners and, whining, dining, buying me things. And sometimes I would forget to show reciprocity because I was just so used to just getting, getting, getting.
Well, did he want you to reciprocate, like him, you take him out to dinner? Because see, just because he's taking you out and picking up the ticket, reciprocate, you may reciprocate by doing something that he enjoys, not necessarily, paying for dinner this time, or cooking. And you really, I think the reciprocation is not necessarily the act, but the intention. So if the intention is to have a good time and to have fun, you can reciprocate by doing something that he enjoys doing, like maybe watching a movie that he really wants to see or really enjoys or likes, even if you don't want to, or um, he may like a certain bar that you don't too much care for, but you may go and kind of fake
You
it
know what,
like you like it
CK,
because you're
you
reciprocating
just
the.
you just hit the nail on the head because there was this bar, the American Legion, and they had First Friday. And see, my guy liked to step. And see, I'm not an exhibitionist. So I don't like getting out in front of people and dancing like that. But he did. And so I had no idea how important that was for him. And so I wouldn't do it. And it was something just that small and that simple that I could have gave him, but because I was just all about me, I was just like, no, I'm not finna do it. And it was a very small thing. I could have done it. I do know how to step. So you're right, he did. There was a certain bar that he liked going to,
Oh, why didn't
and
you?
he wanted to step. I didn't
What
I
made you
didn't
not
do
want to
it
step?
I didn't do it because I was thinking about myself. I was thinking about me, how I would look, my feelings. It was just, I was all into myself. I was thinking about my feelings, but I didn't take his feelings into consideration.
Mm. Did you all ever go back to step or anything?
Well, we not together now. That's my whole point. We not together because
Mm.
I
Yeah.
didn't do those things. The things that he needed, I didn't do for him. And the things that I needed that I really wanted, he started to not do them for me because I was selfish.
Well, like when he complained, because I'm sure he complained at night, you didn't want to step. When he complained later on that night or just whenever, did you concede and apologize? Like, hey, you know what, I was wrong? Or did you try to like debate with him?
Well, see, that's the other thing. I never apologized. I never conceded anything. And I
Mm.
never felt I was wrong.
Mm. Do, but do you believe you're wrong now?
Yeah, now hindsight being 2020. Yeah, I was wrong. It was a small thing
Gets a
that he was
lot
asking.
of us, both men and women, and that I think that's what kind of gets us, both men and women, and that is in the moment. And I'm not trying to be offensive or anything, but in the moment, we are who we are. So it's good to reciprocate. It's good to make the other person feel good. It is good to have pride and not want to be embarrassed and stuff. But we also have to realize that if there's a lot of situations where when it comes time to act, you freeze or you're doing flight, like for whatever reason you don't want to do it, it may be that because it may be because you're experiencing so many situations like this where he doesn't want to do what you want to do at the moment, or you don't want to do what he wants to do. It may be because you're not compatible. So we also need to understand that you can talk about reciprocating all day, you can apologize all night, but when it boils down to it, a lot of times, if you really want to do something, you'll find a way. If not, you'll find an excuse, and we got to be able to throw in the towel. There's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, I was wrong, but at the moment I didn't do it because I didn't want to. And maybe my partner should be with someone that not only would have stepped when asked, would have enjoyed it when asked, but they're just a better fit for my guy or gal than I am. And that kind of that sort of goes back into the premise of this discussion about too selfish to be loved, because a lot of us, we're too selfish to be loved with certain people because we got to find the right one.
Okay. I never thought about it that way, but you're right. Because now he's with someone else now. And I do believe that the lady that he's with now is the right fit for him because they like the same stuff.
Is he
And
happy?
see, I don't know. I don't know.
Is
But
she happy?
I do know that they're together. They're together.
Well,
They're
are they
married,
taking?
so
Well, I mean, are they?
they got to be happy.
Well, not necessarily, because sometimes people get married out of pressure, or they get married because like, oh, well, we're not getting any younger. But a lot of times, you could tell if people are happy by how many uh, times they are on Facebook, or let's say like social media, and they're actually interacting with each other. So like she makes a post and he's commenting on the post. He makes a post, she's commenting on the post. People eventually will allow what they do behind closed doors go public, especially if they're not happy and frustrated. Now I know you probably are not Facebook friends or connected with social media with him or her, but if you both kind of had the same friends, someone will come back and tell you that someone fell out or not. But or it could be that while you were together, you all didn't share friends or didn't accumulate friends together. And that might be another sign that the person you're with, you really shouldn't stay with them because there's no compatibility. Because in my opinion, if two people are together and they're happy, they're going to be sharing friends and family members, and they're going to meet people, and those people they meet are going to want to be friends with both people. Because anytime you have a situation where a man and a woman or whoever are together, and you got one person meeting people, and this is someone that they're not introducing to their significant other, so that both of them can be friends with this person, if this is like a secret friend or just a my friend only, chances are that's a sign that uh, there's trouble in paradise, or there will be trouble in paradise. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, kind of, sort of. But I do want to kind of stay on to the topic of being too selfish to be loved, because let me tell you, I've gone to different content creators, female content creator spaces, and there are certain ones that'll sit up here and they're all day long rant and rave about black men ain't this, black men ain't that. But if you get with a black man, and I say black men because these are the men that we like to drag 24/7, and they have earned it. Let the record show they've earned it. However, when we're distinguishing between black men, we're distinguishing between our man that we love, not the collective, but our man. There's a problem. And here's what I mean. Now, these same people that I see online, they'll sit up here and they would have got with every terrible variation of black men that they themselves complain about. And you know what I'm talking about, CK. And I know you've seen them too. They'll be the main ones online. They done had a baby by Pookie, but they can't stop talking about Pookie. They done set up here and they done dated a Ray Ray, or married a Ray Ray, or had a baby by Ray Ray. But then they'll sit up here all day long and they can't get Ray Ray off their man. And then they'll sit up here and talk about how Pookie and Ray Ray worship the ground they walk on because they look good. They'll talk about their looks. They'll talk about how black men ain't shit. But then when it comes down to actual dynamics of relationships, actual how do you keep a good man and avoid Pookie and Ray Ray, you never hear that conversation. They may gloss over it for like 10 seconds, but there's never really an expose on that. Never. Why do you think that is? CK, where did you go? Hello? Where the hell did CK, this Negro, be going to?
No. I'm here. I really, as far as like YouTube, I really can't speak on YouTube per se. Um,
CK, don't do that, because when we have our private conversations, you can speak on YouTube.
well, so for me, and you're right. I would say like as far as like this conversation, the reason why I really can't speak on it is I think sometimes some stuff is to kind of cater to an audience to continue to get the numbers good as far as the live viewers and the watch time, as far as the videos and the donations. So I mean, on one hand, you don't really know if there's genuineness, because like for example with Cynthia G, she talks about black men being dusty and trash bag bandits, but then it's like she had a child by somebody that by her own definition is dusty, but she's not going to point that out because
Allegedly, because we don't know. We don't know if that's true or not. Allegedly.
okay, you're right, allegedly. But let's say if it's because I mean when all that stuff was going on with her and Robert Perkins, she kind of sorry about that. I mean, she herself kind of admitted the stuff, but it's like she danced around the issue and gave Robert Perkins a pass because she didn't want to look stupid in front of her audience. And then even to this day, people protect her when it's like, why is Robert Perkins not a trash bag bandit, but other black men that you talk about who are just like Robert Perkins, they're all this negative stuff. So I think it just when it comes to the YouTube and social media thing, we have to look at what the agenda is. And most of the time, the agenda is to get money.
And I agree with that. Because, like I said, 100%. Now, if that had been a less popular person, oh, shit, yeah, hell, I just use myself as an example. You get run off this goddamn YouTube. You get run the fuck off. And especially if you come back and then you turn around and you continuously drag the same type of people that you yourself deal with. It does come across as hypocritical. It comes across as very hypocritical. And yet, this is 99% of your conversation. But like I said, the pushback against some of the manosphere talking points is needed. But at the same time, the constant niggas ain't shit diatribe, I can't subscribe to that either. Because it keeps you in a constant, how can I say, a constant mindset of these niggas ain't shit. And when I go into those chat rooms and I'm talking to the other ladies and we're talking about relationships between black men and black women, there's never any talk of unity, and there cannot be any talk of unity because the atmosphere is so freaking toxic. And these women, the ones that support that type of message, that's what they want. Now, we talk about the pathology all the time of black men, but let's talk about the pathology of black women that want to remain in a state of toxicity as far as being angry all the time. I cannot walk around being angry 24/7 at niggas. I know niggas exist. I grew up around niggas. And I survived niggas. But in growing up around them and surviving them like I have, I would not have survived if I remained in a toxic mindset about them. Wouldn't have survived. Never would have made it being bitter and angry all the time. Now, I do like, when the ladies talk about being on our own purpose, getting our own shit together, and not allowing niggas to shame us for having our own. Because it's been a long time coming. Now, me, I'm a feminist and a womanist. Proud of it, too. I'll be the first to tell you it's better for you to have your own than to be poor and having to get down on your knees to some nigga that don't give a fuck about you. I'll be the first one to tell you that ain't it. But you got a different variation of women out here. You got your women that sit up here and talk about gold digging, and that's starting to become glorified. How to get the bag. How to get the bag. This is how you get the bag. How you get the bag is you elevate yourself. Why don't we start with ourselves on how to get the bag? Most of the good men that I've met them while I was on my own self journey, while I was on my own purpose, not me trying to find out who I can gain to get some money from. I met some good men in the trucking field while I was on my purpose, when I was on my journey to becoming an owner operator. I met good men on my purpose. And I never had to get down on my knees to beg a nigga for shit. They gave it freely because they liked me, not because I was needy. There's a difference. CK, what's the difference between a woman you meet that you know is needy and a woman you meet that you know don't need you, but you like her and you respect her?
Well, the needy woman, I mean, she's gonna, like, the first conversation or two, she's gonna be asking you for stuff. Like, it might be such as, you meet her, she's like, "Oh, well, my birthday's today," and you're like, "Oh, okay." And then she asks, for a favor if you could take her out for her birthday, and like you just met her, like the first month of meeting her, she wants you to take her out and do a bunch of stuff. Now, most men, they're gonna take her out for her birthday because they like her and they want something from her. They have intention. But if someone is smart, they'll know and understand that this is someone who basically has their hand out, and she's setting the tone for how it's going to be with most of your interactions with her hand out, wanting something. It could be something small, such as you picking her up and giving her a ride somewhere. It could be something large, like, "Oh, there's a bill that came up. I don't know how to pay it." So it's always going to be her presenting her problems to you. And most of the conversation is going to be kind of dry and dull until she wants to present you with her problems. And whether she's asking for your actual resources or being an energy vampire, those are usually the signs that someone is like a parasite, if you will. Now, on the flip side of that, someone who you genuinely want to care for is someone who is going to be not just presenting you with issues they have going on, but they're also going to be asking you about how your day is. And when you reciprocate and talk about negatives that are going on with you, they're not going to get upset that they're asking you for money and you're like, "Well, I don't have it because I have blah 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 going on." They're not going to be upset that you're telling them no. They're going to be empathetic and be like, "Oh, I hate that you're going through that, with getting your vehicle fixed or with having to pay taxes on something that really sucks." And then he or she is even going to offer to help you in some way, whether it be researching on the internet, maybe to help you find a way to take care of your problem, or even asking, is there anything they can do besides giving money? And it'll be like the feeling would be of a team or teamwork, as opposed to uh you know dealing with someone who's a burden.
Right. But I'm gonna tell you something, CK. Now, even though I said that most men will most likely take a woman more seriously when they see that she's on her own purpose and she don't have her hand out, make no mistake, niggas, and I put emphasis on the word niggas, not men. Most niggas like needy ass bitches. You want to know why?
They can control them.
Exactly. Control is not love. Now, most niggas like transactional relationships with their women because they can control them. Meaning, if you're needy, then they know that all they got to do is wave a $20 bill in your face, or buy you some cheap shoes, or take you out to a meal, and you ready to bust down. Even if he took you to a Michelin 3-star restaurant and bought you a Michael Kors, if he knows that that's all he got to do and that's all it takes, and you're a puppet like putty in his hands, that's transactional. That ain't love. Now, Some of you Negroes, you niggas with the nigga mentality that have been running around here in the YouTube streets with this whole sugar baby, sugar daddy bullshit rhetoric. You all sit up here and you glorify that type of thing. The Kevin Samuel kittens running around here in the YouTube streets also. They're the main ones glorifying transactional relationships with even women that they would wife because they don't want her to be educated. Hell, have a woman being educated over there in that particular sector, that's looked down upon. I'm a PhD. That's looked down upon. You can't be able to take care of yourself with niggas because they can't control you. And once again, control isn't love. It's just them being able to make sure that they can get the transaction that they want and keep you in a subjugated situation. So in this way, if they do marry you, they're going to tell you that it is their prerogative if they can go out and cheat and exercise their so-called options because you ain't got nothing and you are dependent completely on them. And some women will be perfectly fine with that. And I don't have a problem with you, to each their own. As long as you know, I don't want to see you on Woman Sphere panel crying about these no good trash bag carrying niggas that you been fucking with. How this no good ass motherfucker that you allowed to exercise his options left you for one of those options. I don't want to hear that shit. Because you chose the transactional relationship over real love, mutual respect, and reciprocity. You chose the transactional relationship. So as long as you go in knowing exactly what you're getting and how it could possibly pan out, I say, hey, go and get your gold digger on, girl. But I don't want to hear you coming over here. Don't come on Faith Panel crying about niggas ain't shit. And now you bitter and you don't want to hear no women that are in good relationships with their man talking about how they love their man because yours was no good. And that's what I see a lot of these women online doing. A lot of them were with Tyrone, whom they known was a Pookie or a Ray Ray or a Dirty Dick Rick or a Kitten Samuels follower. And they went in with their eyes wide open, knowing exactly what it was. And when the shit didn't work, now they want to sit up here and talk about it. They want to talk about the man like a dog after they signed up for that shit. Hey, what's up, Can't Hide? Don't sign up for bullshit and then come online and want to drag every black man on the planet because of the black man that you chose. And don't sit up here and call women pick-me's and mammies because they are expressing love for the man that they chose. See, know the difference. We're not talking about all of these niggas as a collective. Talk about the man that you chose, and I'm going to talk about the man that I chose. How about we do that? And the same thing to you men. You want to sit up here and drag the collective of black women over the hoe that you chose, that set up here and got pregnant by you, or maybe she might have got pregnant by your friend, or she might have got pregnant by the milkman. You don't know. But because you had the most money, she said it was you. And then 15 years later, you find out the kid ain't yours. And now every black woman, well, we hoes and bitches, lying ass skeezers, you running every black woman name down into the ground because of the hoe you chose. And then when a black man come along and he's talking about the woman he chose that he loved, now you want to call him a simp. I'm sick and tired of niggas coming online making it seem like it's wrong for black people to love other black people because of the niggas and the bitches that they chose. You talk about yours and I'll talk about mine. How about we do that? What's up, Chaos Rain? You got anything to add, CK?
Um. So as far as that, no. Go ahead.
CK is sleep, y'all. CK done went
Well,
to sleep on this
well,
last one.
no. I know you have a lot on your chest to get off. So as far as that stuff, I'm kind of like listening because it's real interesting. It's just kind of I just kind of want to get back to too selfish to be loved.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. What's on your mind?
We just when going into relationships or even before going into relationships, I think a lot of people they already have their mind made up as far as what they want and what they don't want. And that's why you see a lot of women when a relationship or situationship ends, they feel burned because they're like, well, I gave up the kitty and I didn't get anything in return. Because they go in, or before they go in, they want something out of the relationship because their mindset's already transactional. Because it should be, let's say, if a man and a woman lay down and rub genitals together, that is a mutual thing. Both people are getting pleasure from the act, both people consent. But a lot of women will be thinking, well, I gave him some kitty and the relationship's over. I don't have anything to show for it. He didn't pay my bills. He didn't take me shopping. He didn't take me out to eat. I feel used. That goes along with being too selfish in a negative way, because you shouldn't feel like you should be getting something out of it. It should be, we both had a great time, we both consented, the relationship ended for whatever reason, we go our separate ways. So the people are too selfish in a negative way, and now they're wanting to harass the new girlfriend. They're wanting to go to someone's job. They're wanting to be antagonistic. They're wanting to key cars, bust out windows, and all of this because she's really transactional, and it'll eventually come across because she'll say, well, my previous men did XYZ for me. And the guy usually will respond with, well, I'm not them. And she'll respond with, well, can you at least fill up my gas tank?
Well,
Because that's
if she's coming into the relationship with a transactional mindset, do you think that it's really, that she has any type of respect or love to even give reciprocity like that?
no. No, she basically is going in with a whole mindset, and
Exactly.
she can't be loved. Now she will argue that a man is supposed to take care of a woman and provide, but she's incapable of being loved if she goes in with a transactional mindset, a whole mentality like that. It is more than likely that she's not even girlfriend or marriage material, because it goes real deep with all the social programming. And I know, Faith, you and I have talked about it behind the scenes, all the social programming that goes on. A lot of women and men, they're incapable of having productive and healthy relationships. And we could go into seeking therapy for unresolved childhood issues. We could go into uh, working with a relationship counselor to make sure that the relationship is healthy and that both people know what their roles are. But when it boils down to it, most unfortunately women, they believe that they should get something materialistic out of every man they're with, and every man believes that every woman should bust down for him without him doing anything to woo her. People should take time out to play The Sims, okay, and get back to being human. But Faith, you got anything you want to speak on that?
Yeah, well, I wanted to highlight something that Ken High said because she agreed with you. She said, well, if you treated your kitty with some respect and not try to low key sell it, then you wouldn't be feeling used. And I agree with that. And here's why. Going back to that whole mentality that you used to talk about all the time, CK. That is the whole mentality. And you're right, CK. Majority of women have the whole mentality, and it's selfish. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think that it should be free, but at the same time, like Ken has said, you shouldn't be treating yourself like you're selling your kitty to every man that comes along, and especially you want a relationship on top of it. There's no trans. How can I say? There's no pimp hoe relationship with you being in a commitment with a man. It's like a lot of women don't understand that commitment does not automatically mean that you're how can I say, bargaining off with your vagina. Women enter relationships bargaining off with their body, leading with your vagina, the same way men lead with their wallets. You're not going to get commitment with a vagina. You got to have way more than that these days. And you're right. A lot of women do think that little dugout between their legs, that they're going to be able to conquer the world with it.
To a certain extent, they can, because when it boils down to it, women showing cleavage, having the tight jeans, showing off the booty, and switching, all that stuff that um, gives sexually suggestive messages, it does attract a lot of men. But what ends up happening is when a woman goes in leading with their body, taking the sexy pictures and doing all that stuff, it it's going to put a shelf life on her value to every man that she's with, because
Mm.
eventually she's going to have sex with him, whether he pays her bills, gives her gifts, if he's 6'2", thin, athletic build, and she likes what she sees. Eventually she's going to have sex with him. And when it comes to men, when we have sex with a woman enough, we no longer are desiring it like it's a new shiny toy. It becomes I enjoy having sex with you, but I'm not going to hound you for it. So at that point, if she's been leading with her body and a man pretty much desires her sexually, and that's what motivated him to engage in a situation with her, once he's had sex with her enough and no longer has the lust for her, her shelf life has ended. And now his real feelings are going to come out. And that's the reason why a lot of you all experience being abused and cheated on and a lot of other negative things. It's because his true feelings now come to the surface.
So
So
what other things should she embody in order? I mean, and I'm not just talking about, I'm just saying basic. What other basic things do a man need from a woman in order to keep him there?
well, if, in my opinion, avoid leading with your body. So the best thing you could do is you want to be helpful to him. Like I tell everybody who wants to level up and get with someone who's a billionaire or a millionaire, the best thing you can do is to figure out what he does and find out what information you can gather that you can give to him that can help him, quote unquote, be on his purpose. So, for example, if he invests in the stock market, now, even though Lucy Liu, who's coming up with the mini skirt and the boobs out, even though she's going to get his attention, his sexual attention, you can compete with Lucy Liu and her slutty ways by coming and just having a casual conversation with him and offering him information and something that he has interest in, appealing to his self-interest. He's going to engage with you with conversation about what you've just provided that supports his self-interest, and he's going to be more inclined to get to know you intellectually because you helped him on his journey. So after he's done playing trampoline with Lucy Liu, if he goes that route, her shelf life is going to end and she's going to be expired. Whereas if you go down the route of helping him with whatever his self-interest is, whatever his hobbies are, he's going to engage with you intellectually and you're going to be able to learn more things about him. And you guys are going to have a common interest and be able to have a healthy relationship. He will desire you sexually because, you know, you're going to wear lingerie around him. You're going to, you know, the woman I'm with, she has like this dress that she wears to bed that I enjoy. So he's going to eventually see you sexually, but when he gets to the point where he's had sex enough times to where he's like not lusting as hard as he did in the beginning of the relationship, he's still going to want to be around you, hang around you, and spend time with you and be open with you because he's connected with you intellectually.
Okay, so there has to be a meeting of the minds, a connection. How can I say, a soul connection?
Yeah, soul connection, intellectual connection, just having things in common. That's 10 times better than leading with your body because everybody gets old. Beauty fades, look fades. You know, the wig comes off, the hair extensions come out, the makeup has to come off. You know, you're not going to have your nails and toes done all the time. You're going to gain weight with a period or with stress, menopause, childbearing. You know, the Instagram body is eventually going to go away. And once that goes away, especially as women get older, they struggle with gaining meaningful relationships with the opposite sex because they never develop that skill. Because having dialogue with someone like you and I are having right now, Faith, and you know all the other times we've done content together, you know, just having chemistry and connecting with someone, it's a skill and it's a perishable skill, and that perishable skill will diminish if you don't work on it and strengthen it, similar to going to a gym, working out, pumping iron, and you build muscle. If you stop going to the gym, you're going to lose the muscle. So you have to constantly go to the gym and get your workout in to constantly build muscle and maintain it. Same thing with being intellectual and having a meaningful conversation.
But now a lot of manosphere men will say that men are simple. They will tell you, hey, they just want sex. They want you to feed them. And what was the other one that they said? F me, feed me, and be quiet. That's what they say. Be quiet.
So I'm going to go on record and just say those are simple-minded men. Okay, the lower upper echelons of society, people who are bottom feeders, people who want women to not have degrees, not have careers, not be able to compete with men. Those are basically low skilled workers, low skilled thinking. So because they're simplistic in their thinking, they're what's known as simps. Simps are simpletons, simple minded, because men are not simple. If men were simple, then there wouldn't be the high out of wedlock childhood rate as opposed to women being married. There would be less domestic violence. There'd be less, um, abuse of young underage girls by grown men. Men are complicated, just like women are complicated, and the thinking that that men are simplistic, those those men that say stuff like that, they're leading you down the wrong path. Because if men were so simple, then think about all the relationships you've been in and how many times you've been cheated on and abused and you didn't do anything wrong.
You know what? You're right. Because just with that, what you just said, going off of their, hey, give me sex, feed me, and be quiet, you can do those three things and still get cheated on. You're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
You're absolutely right. But I've noticed that in my much more longer term relationships, we had a different type of connection that went way further than just me giving him sex, feeding him, and being quiet. Those were the relationships where we did have long, meaningful conversations and where we supported one another in our endeavors. Like if I like doing YouTube, he would listen to my videos and he would tell me ways that I can improve, or he would, encourage me, or give me a good word or uplift me if I had a bad time, with a panel or something like that. And in his job, I would uplift him and tell him, that he's, doing a good job, or, hey, if he had a bad day, that's okay, because you're still great at what you do, and they still need you. You're a valuable member of the team, stuff like that. So you're right. When I had those types of connections with my men, with my past relationships that were more long term, it lasted longer. It lasted much, much longer because there was a deeper connection, like you said, than just the sex.
I think the big problem is, and I hope I didn't cut you off. I think the big problem is that, and pretty much this is me saying what Faith told me behind the scenes, so I can't take credit for this. What we consume as media has changed. So movies like The Best Man, when growing up, those to me those were chick flicks. But Faith was like, "Hey, watch it again," and I did. And a lot of those movies that came out in the '90s and in the '80s, they gave us all of this information. They gave us the answers to the test. So,
Mm-hmm,
for,
sure
so for
did.
for example, the movie The Best Man, Morris Chestnut's character, he was a football player. And Faith, let me know if I'm off about this. So the reason why he was marrying the woman that he was marrying is because she just casually gave him feedback on him being a running back, and it helped him be successful in his career. Whereas every other woman that was in his life, he was just running through beat, skeet, delete, smash and dash, pump and dump. They had a shelf life and they expired because all he wanted to do was sleep with them. But with her, the woman that he ended up marrying, he instantly had the connection with her intellectually. Now, don't get me wrong, because even though they had the intellectual conversation and she got the ring, she got married, he was cheating on her left and right. So
But that
the
was before they got married. He was cheating on her left and right. Yeah, you're right.
yeah, so there's not going to be a 100% way to keep a man or a woman from being a dog or a hoe. So Faith and I are not endorsing that. You take our advice and you're going to have a monogamous committed relationship. because the other person has to want to be faithful to you. And that might be
Right.
a topic for another story or another stream. I'm not sure if you want to go into that now, Faith, but if you want to, you can kind of pick up what I'm talking about as far as the best man in the movies, because this was kind of your talking point that you made behind the scenes. If you could elaborate for us.
Oh no, I love to. I love that movie, by the way. That's one of my favorite chick flicks. Okay. CK called my movie a chick flick.
Is it not though? No, no. I mean, to be, watching it again, I don't really consider it to be a chick flick per se. I just know that when watching it as an adult, all the problems we have now in 2021, if we would have paid more attention to those movies, and even Tyler Perry. Okay, I can't believe I'm actually saying that out of my mouth, but even watching Tyler Perry movies and just taking notes, and watching it with your significant other as a couple, you can actually bond from talking about the movie and just what it meant to you. If you watch one of those movies with someone, whether male or female, and they watch the whole Tyler Perry movie, the best man, the wood, Waiting to Exhale. If you watch those movies with your significant other, and after it's over with, they can't have an intellectual conversation about what they just watched, you need to go ahead and dump them. I'm 100% you, because the thing about it is, if you're in a relationship with someone and you watch a relationship movie and you all cannot have a relationship conversation where it's intellectual and deep, that means this person has a shelf life.
That's true. That is so true. But getting back to that movie, Morris Chestnut character, like you said, he first met his wife, and he met his wife through his best friend, who was his best man, and that was what's his
Mm-hmm.
name? That actor, God, I forget his name.
Tay Diggs.
Tay Diggs, right? So his best friend was Tay Diggs' character, and the young lady did. She came out and she knew all the game plays, and she gave him pointers on what he needed to do to improve, with his the football jargon that she was throwing out there. And he was extremely impressed with her intelligence, her quick wit, her everything that she said to him. In that instance, she set herself apart from all the women that he had been pumping and dumping. And see,
Mm-hmm.
this is in that CK, that was an excellent example. This is exactly what I'm talking about. And people, please watch The Best Man. To even if you have to fast forward to that one scene where Morris Chestnut first met his wife, look at that scene, because you're going to see it in a different perspective. When she sat there and she spewed all that off, the minute that she was gone, he said, "Oh man, you got to hook me up with her." And mind you, in the movie, she wasn't dressed sexy, was she, CK?
Nope, she was looking homely, like Derek Jackson's wife.
Right. I mean, she just looked like the regular, everyday black woman. She had her hair in a little bun, and she looked very, very plain. She looked plain Jane. Right, can't hide. She made love to his mind. She captured his mind first, and he never forgot about her. And even though he cheated on her with many different women, at the end of the day, he always knew who he was going to marry and settle down with.
She imprinted him.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what you want to be. You want to be that woman that imprints yourself on his mind, not just on his body. Because, like CK said, that stuff has a shelf life. Sex only lasts for so long. But when you got a person's mind, oh, when you live inside a man's man, you got him. Got him.
Now, I want to say that there is a duality to everything, and with the imprinting, the positive is, like Can't Hide said, making love to someone's mind. That's the positive intellectual imprinting. What what we talk about a lot on Black YouTube is the other imprinting, which is like, you give it to somebody so good that you get them sprung and you imprint like that. So that's toxic, and that's like the yang or the of a duality when it comes to imprinting. When you imprint on someone like that with a shelf life, if you notice, you're going to, when feeling sprung, you're going to be feeling insecure. You're going to be feeling hopelessness, lost, jealous. You're going to be feeling really negative when someone imprints on you uh, sexually and with dysfunction and toxicity. So you definitely want to be careful who you give your body to.
Right,
If
can't hide. Not to be confused with manipulation.
Exactly, because if you give your body to anyone or give your body to someone who doesn't care about you, as far as like Faith was saying, reciprocation, is more than likely that you're going to end up being unclean and not being able to wash off that uncleanliness with soap and water. That's kind of a deeper conversation that Faith and I may have a deeper conversation one day, but it's really deep as far as being unclean and not being secure in a relationship and everything. And usually that comes because you and your partner have focused on the physical, like you both are sexually attracted to each other, the sex is great and all that, but you're not connecting mentally. So it's almost like your heart is not in it.
That's a good way to put it. And another way, it could be just like with the body is organic.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're doing all this, having sex with different people, organically, you're letting that person into your body and into your DNA. And so your body is going to remember how that person touched you. Your body is going to remember how good it felt. Your body is going to take a memory. It's gonna be a memory chip within your organism. What that person did to you sexually. So the same way that your body, when you eat a certain type of food and you know this food is good, it speaks to everything as far as your senses.
Mm-hmm.
But you know that the cake and the ice cream and the cookies and the potato chips are not good for you, but your body craves it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same way when your body craves sex from a person that you know isn't good for you.
Junk food.
Exactly. Junk food. But you can train your body to want the things that's good for it. You can train your body to get used to being conditioned with exercise. You can train your body to be used to being conditioned with nutritious foods that's going to give you the correct daily vitamin value that your body needs. You can train your body to want what is good for it so that it can have longevity, so that you can live longer and be healthier. And that's the same thing that you have to do with a relationship. You have to train yourself to gravitate towards people that are good for you so that you can have a long lasting and healthy relationship. Same concept.
Mm-hmm. Yep, like fruits and vegetables.
Ken Has said, my body rejects and is repulsed by a no good MF. Mine too. Trust and believe. I've been training this body to only want what's good for it.
Mm-hmm.
Mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah, there's nothing greater than someone you've connected with intellectually who cares about you, you care about the other person, and you both want to please each other, mind, body, and spirit. And you're not you're not going to be perishable when you have it like that, because they're never going to get tired of pleasing you, never get tired of talking to you. They're going to feel comfortable with you to be able to tell you their deepest secrets, and they're going to trust you. It
Yes.
it's possible for someone to, let's just say, lust after someone not in the relationship, but connecting with your significant other will keep them from actually stepping out, because they'll choose you over choosing someone else, because everything's a choice. Cheating is a choice. Being angry with someone and going to sleep is a choice. Not wanting to work out problems is a choice. Not being open and honest and being deceitful is a choice. Everything's a choice. And when you connect with someone intellectually, you have the imprint. You care about each other. You love each other. You won't have to be what the old people used to call it as being a busybody. People who are busybodies, they're going from relationship to relationship to relationship to bed to bed to bed. It's almost like they're searching for something, and it's because a piece of them is missing. And that missing piece usually can come from self-love, and it can also come from taking satisfaction and loving someone else, and they reciprocate and give that love to you, which can fill that missing piece inside of you. People who are busybodies, you'll see them on panels on YouTube. They go from panel to panel to panel to panel to panel, but they never create content on their own channel. Okay, they're in beef after beef after beef after beef, but they never resolve the beef, because it's almost like the beef and the drama helps them feel alive, as opposed
Right.
to living life and feeling being alive. There's a lot of people around here who are missing pieces of themselves, and they don't know what to do or how to solve that problem. And they're going to be busybodies until they can no longer be able to be busy. Hey, Faith, you mind taking over? I got to do something right quick.
Okay, no problem. But going back to that movie, The Best Man, because there's a lot of nuances to that, and I'm glad that CK brought up The Best Man. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. But you guys remember in that movie, there was Shelby, the character Shelby, and I forget the name of the guy that she was with, but he was really henpecked. I don't know if you guys watched The Best Man, but Shelby was toxic. Shelby is the epitome of what I am talking about as far as the selfish woman that is too selfish to be loved. And in that movie, all Shelby talked about and all Shelby cared about was herself. And all she wanted to do was control her man. And she used shaming language on him. Remember, he wanted to go to the bachelor party with his friends, and she's standing outside. "Ah, you're going to that bachelor party? Ah, you're just gonna leave me? I need to go shopping, and we need to talk about our problems and our issues in our relationship. You choose your friends over me." All of that is selfish, shaming language. Now she knows full well that he's part of the groom party. She knows full well that he hasn't seen his college buddies in years. And she knows full well that some of them flew in from other cities to be there so that they can be reunited again. And she didn't care. In that movie, Shelby, all she did was care about herself, and she was putting herself first. Now that's toxic femininity at its finest. Like I said, when you guys watch the movie again, The Best Man, you will see it totally different. Can't have said I'm gonna have to watch that movie again. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
When Shelby was sitting up there shaming her man because he was going to the bachelor party that she knew he was going to, it wasn't like it was something that hadn't been planned in advance, but she was trying to control him. And see, his friends kept trying to tell him that she was not compatible for him. Those two were not compatible. She wanted something that he clearly didn't want. She was not intellectual. She led with her body because she thought she looked good. Now let's all tell the truth. Shelby was a bad mamma jamma in that movie. She had it going on as far as her looks, but that's all she had to offer. And Shelby reminds me of so many of these female content creators that come on YouTube. She if you really think about it, compare Shelby to some of these female content creators on YouTube. Pretty, got a nice body. Guys would probably kill to be with her sexually. But after you get her, Shelby was goddamn annoying. Can we just be honest? Wasn't Shelby goddamn annoying?
Very.
And even her boyfriend, I mean, he was just with her because she imprinted him with her body. And even in the Best Man Part 2, the Best Man Holiday, he even admitted that Shelby, rocked the mic better than his wife. He admitted that in Part 2. But even though Shelby rocked the mic better than his wife, he did not choose Shelby. He chose the stripper. But he didn't choose the stripper simply because she put it on him. They were standing outside and they were having a pretty long conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And that stripper, he noticed that she was quite smart. And she stimulated his mind as well as his body. And even though Shelby could rock the mic better than her, he chose to be with the other girl that was beautiful and smart. Let that sink in. Yes, please rewatch The Best Man. Like CK said, the movies in the 90s that came out in the 90s, they laid out the blueprint for us, but it went over a lot of our heads.
Also, if y'all could put in the live stream and in the replay chat, if you want Faith and I to like review some of those movies.
Yeah, if you would like for us to review the movie The Best Man, we'll find some clips and some pictures, and we'll do a whole review on them. But I'm telling you, those movies, man, in the 90s, y'all are missing out. They laid it out for you. It was right there in your face, but it went over a lot of y'all's head. Koja Malik says, Shelby settled. And when you settle, sometimes you resent the person for not being the person you want. They are not the person you want, but they provide.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and that's actually a good point, because settling, really, it's that someone really wants to just be with someone. They might not necessarily be better or worse than who they actually end up with, but it's just that Shelby wanted to really be with someone else, and she was trying to force that guy in part 1 to be someone else, more than likely the guy that she really wanted to be with. And that's where the nagging and the complaining and all that's really where the energy comes from, and what it's intended to do is to try to mold someone into someone else, so that even though you couldn't have the first place winner, you get the runner up, or a
Right.
makeshift version of them. That's a really good point, Coach Malik.
And also, Shelby was not really aligning or trying to encourage him in what he wanted to accomplish. He liked working with underprivileged youth, especially underprivileged young men, young black men. And I believe in that movie, The Best Man Holiday, Shelby referred to those young black boys as hooligans. And he was completely turned off by how she regarded people or boys in the community that he cared about.
Mm-hmm. They weren't compatible.
But now in the second movie, the woman that he married, they ended up starting a very successful foundation together because she, how can I say, she supported his dream.
Mm-hmm.
She was there, and she was an inspiration and a support to him, and that dream was able to grow because he was with somebody that respected him and supported him in what he wanted to do, and not what and she didn't try to make him into something that she wanted him to be. Shelby was trying to get him to go after a different job in the first movie, and that's the reason why he ultimately dumped her, because it was becoming more and more unbearable and uncomfortable to be with her, because he was twisting her like a pretzel. I mean, she was twisting him like a pretzel. And if you ever seen a pretzel, the pretzel is twisted in such a way where it's uncomfortable. Can you imagine a human being twisted like a pretzel? Well, that's what you do to your man when you try to make him into something that he doesn't want to be. But instead, if there is something that your man is interested in, support him. Support, and I didn't say do for him, give him money. I didn't say that. I said support him. Be his inspiration. Inspire him.
And also, I want to take time out to say that. So Candace, Candy Sparks, the stripper, she is someone that the manosphere would regard as trash, and a lot of us would regard her as being trash because she was a stripper. Don't let what someone like me or what the black manosphere or anybody else will say about a woman to make you not give her a chance. And just hear me out. Just hear me out. Because what someone does in their past, in their profession, it can mold them, it can shape their thinking. However, you should find out first if that's true before just throwing them away. Because with Candy, she was able to get with I think his name was it Julian? No, Shelby. No, it wasn't Shelby. That's the woman. I forgot the guy's name, but she was able to. So Candy was able to get with. I think it was Julian. Let me double check.
Jules, I think his name was Jules.
Yeah, it was Jules. Sure. Yeah, so she was able to get with Julian, and Julian liked her intellectually and, of course, physically. But if he would have told his homeboys about her, they would have instantly have said, no, she's just somebody you run through but not commit to. And he was happy with her. They started the foundation, like Faith was saying. So there really is no the wall per se. There really is no, she has mileage, she's no good. Everyone has value because we give the person and people value. So before writing someone off, take time out to see if they're right for you, because not every person is going to be right for every other person out there, but they might be right for you.
Well, and I have to give a little bit of pushback to that because, like Kent Hyde said, within reason. Now, had Candy been a stripper at, say, 27, 28, or 30, you know, she's past her prime. That's pretty much who she's gonna be. But Candy was very young in this movie. Candy was in college. She was a college student. So by the mere fact that Candy was a college student, that told Jules that this was not something that she was trying to do permanently. So he had the discernment to see that those other women that was in the car with that pimp, those other women look pretty old. They were not college students. One of the girls was like, I told you about hiring these college girls. Those women were done for. This was what they were going to be doing for a long time. But Candy was in college. Candy was trying to do something else with her life, and Jules saw that. And like CK said, he saw the value in her. And so he steered her in a different direction, because he told her, if you allow yourself to become, I forget what the quote was in the movie. He said, if you allow yourself to become what other people want you to be, then you'll be eaten alive, or something like that. And that was a quote that they got from some kind of philosopher, and Candy instantly knew who that philosopher was, because they were both intellectuals and they were both equally yoked for each other. So he was able to use his discernment and see that Candy was not like the other women that was in the car with that pimp. The other women that was in the car with that pimp past their prime, they were done for. But Candy, on the other hand, college student, young girl, she was on something totally different. So there's a difference.
There's no need to give pushback on that, because he gave her a chance despite her profession, and that's really the main takeaway, is not to judge a book by its cover. And just looking at those other girls, they looked like like you said, past their prime, and just talking to them, you could be like, okay, yeah, these women, they're not going to be anything except for run throughs. But just him giving Candy a chance, not judging the book by its cover, and just getting to know her, like just like Faith was saying, he was able to determine that there was more than meets the eye.
Right. But I ain't gonna lie though, she was working them up there in that chair.
Well, then you know what? Most men would have liked to have Cat Candy, because see, not only is she intellectual, it can help him with the foundation, and she has a future, but she has stripper moves. Believe it or not, there's a lot of women that they're insecure about their bodies, so they're not gonna role play and put on a stripper costume and prance around like a stripper and role play, due to the insecurities of their body and not having the skill. So in a way, Candy is a good example of a lady in the streets and a freak in the bed.
Exactly. And ladies, you know what? You ain't got to have the perfect body. I don't have the perfect body, but I will throw on a sexy outfit in a heartbeat for my man. Okay? And that's the thing. Your man is the only person that matters. If he likes it, what nobody else says matters. As long as your man likes it. So keep in mind, he's absolutely right. There's a lot of guys that would love a woman like Candy. Lady in the streets, freak in the bed. Yeah, you have to embody all that. And that's one of the other things that will keep him with you. Keep him with you. Got him.
Yeah, spice things up with role playing when wanting to be adventurous. And that just also goes with the whole intellectual aspect, because if a man connects with you intellectually, he's going to help you work through your insecurities if you have any. He's also going to work with you at whatever skill level you're in as far as the bedroom, because he cares. and he's not gonna embarrass you or make jokes and stuff, knowing that he's hurting your feelings. You know, that kind of helps us segue into the movie Why Did I Get Married? Okay, you know, from the outside looking in, it was clear that Jill Scott's character.
We gonna go through all the movies tonight. Okay, let's do it.
Well,
Let's do it. Why did I get married?
I'll give this reference and I'll leave it alone. Get back on topic. But yeah, again, if people want Faith and I to review some of these movies, you know, let us know in the live stream chat and also in the replay section of the comments. But yeah, you know, just Jill Scott's character, you know, she was getting on the plane and the comments her husband was making, and the husband wanted to be with the friend, sit with the friend, and when Jill Scott was you know asked to pay for 2 seats because of her size, the husband was like, just drive to Colorado. You know, and I mean, just that scene right there, not even having to watch the rest of the movie, shows that he did not connect with her intellectually. If anything, he clearly was grotesque, grossed out by her. And he was messing with a friend. I mean, it's clear. But the problem is that Jill Scott's character didn't want to see it because she was more focused on that man and the money and being attracted to him sexually, and she even blamed herself. So it's really important to connect with someone intellectually because they're going to care about you through thick and thin. Someone who's focused on, you know, being with someone who has led with their body, if you gain weight, he's going to start treating you like Joe Scott's husband or a variation of it. So, Faith, do you want to speak on something? Speak on that.
Well, yeah, because Jill Scott's character was an overweight woman, but she wasn't always overweight. When her and her husband met, they were young. They used to, you know, do mischievous things together. And even in the second movie, he reminisced with her about the mischievous things that they did together. But he was toxic even back then. And she overlooked a lot of the things that he did to her. He put his hands on her, he beat her, put her head through a wall, blamed her for being barren, that she couldn't have children when it was all the time it was him that couldn't have children. He never had any respect for her, like Keith said, like Commendable K said. So, you know, being walking around with blinders just to have a man, that's the other thing that a lot of Black women are guilty of. You want the title so bad that you're willing to accept abuse. And that's what Jill Scott's character pretty much embodied. She embodied the desperate Black woman willing to take whatever, willing to do whatever just to keep a man. She was even willing to overlook the fact that her man was with a whole nother woman on their marriage retreat. She had no problem with that. And she knew deep in her heart that she was probably sharing her man with this woman. But as long as it, you know, he never said so, even though he was acting like it the whole time, but he never said it and she never said it. But they were acting like it the whole time, right in her face. They were playing in her face the whole time.
Facts.
So why did it take, what was the loudmouth woman's name?
Was it Tasha? Yeah, Tasha.
Why did it take Tasha to bust him out at the dinner table for her to acknowledge what she already knew? Make no mistake about it, she already knew. But like so many Black women in the Black community, we don't mind sharing the man. See, as long as it looks good on paper, as long as they kept going to those marriage retreats and they took pictures that she could post on social media or put on her wall, she would have kept right on doing it. But Tasha burst her bubble. She couldn't go back home from that marriage retreat and post the pictures on her wall and continue to pretend that she was in the perfect marriage, like so many of us like to do. There's a lot of Black women out here pretending that they are in these perfect relationships on paper and in photographs. And it's not until somebody like a Tasha or a woman that he's sleeping with that don't want to be anonymous anymore burst your bubble, and you have to come out and acknowledge that your marriage or your relationship ain't shit. I don't know why it takes stuff like that to happen before some of us snap out of it, because you're not allowed to pretend anymore. And we are so good at pretending as Black women, aren't we? Same thing with when Crystalline Harrison got her divorce. She couldn't just keep it real and say, oh, you know what? My marriage just didn't work out. She had to go grab her, the nearest white man that looked like he looked good in some photographs, and go online. And we all know how that turned out.
Right. She ain't been back since.
We as Black women have got to learn to stop the pretense, stop lying to ourselves, and stop trying to convince other people to lie with us. Because 9 times out of 10, everybody knows your man and your relationship ain't shit.
I think what it is that we all, to a certain extent, are not each other's first choice. You know, you kind of learn to love, which is fine. I think someone like Jill Scott and most Black women, the reason why they get with these quote unquote no good men and they are either in denial or they're kind of like taken aback because he turns out he's a dog. I think it's because a lot of women, they get their first choice, but not, and they get the blinders on, not knowing that this first choice, this person they really want to be with, is no good because they really want to be with the person. You know, 6'2", athletic build, thin, looks good. He's chocolate. He's this. He's that. He's the man of your dreams. He's someone you really desire. And when you're like, oh, this is this is my type. This is what I want. I'm happy. It goes back to what I said at the beginning of the stream, where a lot of women, they have mapped out an entire plan. But in addition to having the plan mapped out of the marriage and the reception and the honeymoon and all that stuff that's perfect, they also have a certain man that they want. And when they find a man that's close to the man in the head that they really want, they go full speed ahead without vetting. And that's why so many women get burned. Just because
like
he's
Jackson's wife.
Right. Exactly. Just because he's your first choice, he's high value, he's everything you want, you still want to vet and you still want to connect intellectually and you still want to look for the signs, because someone can send their representative and lie to you, making it seem like they're exactly what you want them to be when the whole time he had a whole girlfriend or wife at home.
Exactly. And ladies, here's the thing. You have to, there's nothing like being with a man that gives you respect and admiration. Those are two very important things. Not just his lust. You know, lust is good too, you know, because you do want the man to desire you. But I think desire is a given. But respect and admiration along with the desire, those three things are the recipe for love. And it has to be mutual because you have to ask yourself, do you respect and admire him the same way he respects and admire you? You should be a mirror of each other. The same respect and admiration that you give to him, you should see that reflection bouncing off of him to you. That's the whole premise of this live stream. Reciprocity. And with that, I'm going to end on that note. CK, did you want to have any final words?
I would say just keep it short and sweet. That it is possible to be too selfish to be loved, and one way you can avoid going from bed to bed to bed, relationship to relationship to relationship, is if you are able to talk to your exes, like you're still connected with them on Facebook, you still talk because you got a child together, you know, what have you, have the tough conversation and ask them about the negative things that you did in your relationship with them, and just hear them out and have an open mind. You never know, you may learn something that can help you in a future engagement. And that's all I have.
All right. Well, guys, if you want to hear us talk more on relationship talk, just let us know at the end of the stream in the comment section. And also, if there is a movie that you would like for us to review in the next live stream, you know, you can go ahead and send your suggestions over to our respective emails. You know, mine is thefaithfactor@gmail.com. And CK, what's your email?
Screenlearningcontent@gmail.com.
Okay, so screenlearningcontent@gmail.com or thefaithfactor@gmail.com. And you can also below in the comment section, if you have any suggestions of what you would like to hear on this channel regarding relationships and regarding longevity in relationships, because we got enough people talking about the superficial on here. The superficial is not going to give you the recipe for longevity in a relationship. It's not. That's just surface stuff that everybody else is talking about. But if you really want to know the meat and bones, I'll be more than happy to share. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and close it down because it is 12 a.m. in Phoenix the very next day. And I got to be up early, y'all. So I will see you guys in the next live stream. Commendable K, thank you once again for joining me. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure for me as well.
All right, guys. Peace.